This
Yeah.
conference will now be recorded.
I'm hoping Jason will show up.
Yep. I'd like to call this meeting to an order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Peterson? Konecki?
Yes.
Luther? Barr?
Here.
Stellick?
Here.
Wilson?
Here.
Wilson? Lewis? Sorry. Mo?
All right. Since we don't have a quorum, we cannot vote to approve the agenda or any modifications.
I do need to modify the agenda if I could.
Okay.
For a grant opportunity. That came across my desk.
Can I still call for a motion or anything like that? Or
Can't call for a motion even, but we'll, if you don't mind, I'd like to modify it just so
Yeah.
we can go forward with that.
all right. And then same goes for approving the prior meeting minutes with no quorum. We can't make a motion or a vote.
Yep.
So just jumping right into business.
Marketing and advertising, MaryBeth Stutzman, they have some illness going through their office, so she was unable to attend again. She wants me to try to set up just a phone conversation with her next week to kind of go over what we've discussed here at the meeting so far. As far as advertising and things like that. I guess part of me, and I've already reached out to NEMCOG, because I know when we were doing the master plan, one of the things that they said they offered was some marketing strategies and stuff like that. So I've reached out to my contact there, which is the roads contact, which doesn't do me a whole lot of good, but it was trying to put me in touch with the other contacts.
That's their marketing.
I am uncertain. It was something that when we were doing the walkthrough at the marina for the master plan, Eric and Nico both mentioned it.
Okay.
So I have no clue who does their marketing, but I reached out to Nico and he hasn't gotten back to me. I reached out to him this morning, but
Can I ask a question? Has the city authorized a marketing budget yet for us
no, we would have to modify our existing budget and find money to do it,
within our current means?
probably.
Depends on what you want to do.
Okay.
And nice.
Sometimes,
Even Tanner on a boat.
Yeah.
Put up billboards all up US 23.
When instead of all the marijuana.
Yeah.
billboards.
Try to-
It'd be hard to compete with it, but I think we can do it.
There's more money in drugs.
we will have a quorum.
So, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What I'm trying to do is reach out. At this point in time, I'm hoping MaryBeth can help us, but it seems like she's very, very, very busy with everything else. What she's hoping to be able to do at a minimum is insert us into some other ad campaigns she's already got ongoing,
Okay.
which would at least get us out some. So I don't know if we want to explore some other options as far as marketing at this point in time, just because we're not getting a lot of support from that direction.
I might be able to, I don't know, we got my resources in our office that maybe would be willing to offer some help in the social media part, potentially.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out is I'm contemplating just reaching out to different organizations or possibly doing like a request for proposals out just, and I don't even know, I thought about just cold calling a couple of these companies and saying, hey, we want some form of ad campaign pushing towards social media and coming up with something to help increase our transient traffic and seeing if they could give me big round numbers. And I don't know if that's something that we think we want to try to look into. There's a couple of companies that looks like local, but I don't know much about them. And it looked like they were more
Who's that?
geeked, creative custom creations or something.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, and just a couple things like that, just because I'm, like I said, I don't know what to think there. You know, I'm just trying to look at other avenues, because if we can't get a lot of support at the one end of this, then we, you know, what are we, I don't want to spin our wheels another winter, I guess.
Let me, you know, if you wouldn't, I can, let me just look into that a little bit. Maybe I can come up with something,
Okay.
resources for that, if MaryBeth can't do it.
And it sounds like MaryBeth is willing as much as she can, but I don't know how much more I want to look into because
Well, and where's your most effective
I,
advertising?
yes.
You know,
I-
I mean, you can spend a lot with ads and magazines and such, but is that,
I just,
I don't have
I
a
don't-
good feel for, you know, where you put your advertising dollars for this.
I just hate to trade dollars, move our budget and trade dollars from repairs or maintenance into advertising when repairs and maintenance are such a priority because you got to present nicely too, right? And so I'm no expert. I can only go off what's been successful at our company. But, if we try to work on, and maybe us here will know, and Rick will know, what websites do the fishermen look at? Where do they get their information? Where do the sailors do? Where do other people do? And you try to piggyback on that. Like the Great Lakes Cruising Club, Shannon updated our information and it's very nice. And there's other sites that give, feedback on cruisers. Cause I think, I just really don't think putting an ad in a scuttlebutt magazine is worth it. I just don't see it.
Print media is just not where it's at.
No,
It seems like, I mean, I know a couple of companies over on the west side, where I'm from, that do social media campaigns and are, professionals.
Right.
They also design websites, so.
And I think that's kind of where I would like to gear this towards, because every time we've ever talked and every time we've done surveys and all of that, it was 90% of the time you guys are looking on social media, looking for that next port you're going to. So I think that's really where we need to possibly look to in order to go forward from here. And I'm an engineer by trade, guys. I am not a marketer.
I'm thinking, like I did a survey in our office. This is, of course, we're techie people, right? For the most part anyway, but everybody's on Facebook in there. One person wasn't. I was shocked, by the way. Well, you could probably guess who it is, but not you.
Right.
It was like, there's Instagram. Yeah, not that, if you did a short YouTube ad, they're all not that popular. It's all, Facebook is where the popularity is still. Although,
Kids are on TikTok.
yeah, they.
You could all get on
We got all.
do a TikTok.
We have a TikTok hooked to the marina.
I think
That's right.
the age group, mostly the big boaters, are not in the TikTok group.
Yeah.
They're still that Facebook or that Instagram.
I also say with like the social media stuff too, is it's a common conversation I have with any other boards I'm part of. And it's kind of like what we're talking about here. If we were trying to go hire an entity to do this, it's what you pay is for was what you get. And I will say from my personal experience, for what you pay for here locally doesn't usually get you the same quality. So I find sometimes they could be shit. Those are literally just like taking a shotgun, throwing cash in it and shoot it in the dark kind of feeling. I do think, a big part of marketing is the cleanliness, the improvements made to those. People notice those, people post about those. And I would say even too is like when you have an event, you could do all the marketing you want, but the day of the event, anything that's like, maybe Ann can comment on this too, but when an event happens, everyone's posting, everything's tagging local, everything's tagging there. All of a sudden there's this boom, and that's when people's eyes get on it. So, depending on what the costs were, we can figure out from there. But I mean, it's a tricky one without knowing. I mean, I think a lot of people think, if they just post pretty photos, then it's good. But there's a lot more analytics that need to go on the back of what we're trying to do and how to reach it. And while some of us are somewhat social media literate, I by no means advertising that I don't really know my stuff.
But some upfront costs to, having someone design a good page for you because there's a lot that goes into the way that you design your Facebook page.
Yeah.
Even though we may have our own.
Yeah.
But then, you can, based upon what you want and how much marketing, I mean, these are professionals that know how to, work with the algorithms. And I think for like a monthly fee even, you can have them do all your advertising. But of course, it takes some work on your part to, feed that information.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it may be worth it just to get something set up and rolling.
Yeah. It's just, the city doesn't have any person.
We don't. I mean, we don't really need to advertise our services. We're more about getting information out to the general public. But I would love it if someone were managing our social media. That would be great.
A lot of work.
But, it's not something that there's a huge need for us. But I don't know of anyone locally that has a company. But, we could contract with anyone, anywhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
And
I'm
this
willing,
is,
I could make some contacts for you if you want. Yeah.
I don't know
Go
if
ahead.
you can hear me. Sorry, I'm homesick
Yep.
today, so I just wanted to chime in. I know Shannon and I have briefly spoke about this. But I mean, through our downtowns page, we run paid campaigns all the time. So maybe that's something if we take the angle of like the marina is really close to the downtown, we could funnel that through that. And I mean, it's not hard to set up a $25 ad campaign that targets people that own boats in Michigan. I mean, that's something we could definitely do in-house and maybe just split the cost or have it come out of our downtown marketing budget. So just throwing that out there that, for me and Katie, I can loop her in as well. We'd be definitely happy to help if that's something we want to do over the winter, whether with photos, video. I know I have some from sailing. And Don might have even better quality photos of that. And I think Katie might have gotten some good content this summer just from walking around. But definitely something we can help out with from the downtown perspective.
Well, and maybe that's something we look at. Let's try that January 10th, and I have to double check that date, is the date that you can finally go on and start reserving slips at the DNR this year for other marinas. And maybe we do a push that day. Hey, the reservation system's open, reserve an Alpena or something. Come see our downtown district. Maybe that's something we can take a look at for that date. Again, I just, at some point in time, Alpena is going to sell itself. We all know that. We can all kind of see that it's working its way towards that, hopefully. It's just going to be a matter of somehow I've got to get people to come in here and see us still in order for it to start to spread, because we were already word of mouth. Somebody was in Tawas and came up to us because somebody left Alpena and went to Tawas and said, hey, you got to stop in Alpena. We are getting a lot of people from St. Clair Shores because we had two big advocates from St. Clair Shores that went back and said, when you're going that way, stop in Alpena. So, I mean, the word of mouth is starting.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a slow trickle. And if we can put a little bit of money towards advertising and it turns us around a couple of boats that start that word of mouth and that rolling of, hey, this is what's going on in Alpena. I can't even get my QR code to work, guys.
I can help you with the QR.
Okay.
People at the gas dock, I mean, when they come in and they pay, do they like say, hey, put a review on could you put a review on there?
Yes.
Could you,
And this summer we had a sign up there and said, hey, like and follow us on our Facebook page. If you had a great time in Alpena, let your friends know. And that was something that was actually on the bottom of the transient cards with the QR code. Now my QR code was broke. So, I mean, I am social media illiterate. I can build you a 5-lane highway with platinum curb and gutter probably, but I cannot get my Facebook page to work. I will be honest with that.
I think it's also it might be worth trying to scratch Katie's brain and MaryBeth's brain too with this, is that see what their analytics are on the back end of who's engaging with their out of Alpena content, because you can set quite a bit of parameters on that end, social media wise. And if you just go,
and maybe this is something Ann could talk to you in a meeting in the future or something like that, but if you just spend $25 and just go, yeah, well, but it's not going to hit anyone. And so having a more specific, like who's engaging with it is mostly Detroit, or if we're noticing most of our cruisers or transients, some people are coming from us only from the east side of the state and barely any from the west, then maybe it's a good idea to kind of follow up our numbers with seeing what the CVB and the DDA are seeing on their side and try to be more efficient about how we're angling the social media side of it.
Okay. And that's something I can have a conversation with MaryBeth during our meeting next week.
Can we buy a list of transient voters in Traverse City and Petoskey and send them postcards?
We can. I mean, those are all possibilities. MaryBeth actually made that offer for that to happen. It's just a matter of, do you guys think that's an effective way to get people here?
With the Trails Association I'm involved with, it's pretty old school. But I will say they send out the letters every year and they go, hey, you're a member, you want to continue to be a member, and it works for them.
Okay.
I won't say it's my thought on the most efficient way of doing things. I think you always should kind of take a multi-prong approach to that type of stuff, but it does work. I will say I think that works because they're already in some capacity involved. And the physical reminder is a preferred way for them, but I feel like without, if you have the physical side, it's not to forget about the social media side too, because it's kind of like leaving half the goods on the table kind of thing, in my opinion. But yeah, but I personally, I don't know enough about that on the back end. Is there, I know we were trying to get MaryBeth in here and such. Is there a value to having someone like MaryBeth or like maybe Katie or someone that have them come in and talk to the committee here about what marketing would look like for an organization like ours? Or do you think that's something that you think only you need to really talk to them about?
Yeah, really, I was really hoping that I could get one or the other of them in here at some point in time for us to have a conversation about marketing and stuff like that. So we have a really good idea of what we're looking for, or what we should be focusing on. Because again, not it, not a marketer, unfortunately. Not my forte. In all honesty, last week, guys, I was looking at a social media certificate online, see if I could do that, because I'm so desperate to figure out how to make this work.
This is a total Hail Mary pipe dream. Is there any interest for the city to ever hire a communication specialist for the whole organization? That would be a potential long-term solution, is like, then you have, they source it out. You go, well, here's our communication specialist, and that portion of the job is helping advertise Arena, but I don't know.
So I actually put some money in the budget this past year. Of course, we also just moved forward with our building maintenance, so it's just taking a little bit more time, but I wanted to try and get a communications / grant specialist, and it's probably going to start off as a consultant. I hadn't specifically thought about that for the marina, but if there's a need, we might be able to use that funding.
Well, and I have to look at my budget, but I might have some employee money, but I can't transfer money out of employment, so.
But yes,
okay,
is the answer. I would love to have a communications person for the city, and that's actually in our strategic plan.
Yeah, okay. I just was wondering, because I feel like that would be, I get that's not something that we can just go, well, let's do it, but I feel like that would be some value.
Rec coordinator, and
start your sitcom.
Oh, I am from Indiana.
I know. Okay.
Okay, so I will follow up with MaryBeth about analytics and Katie. About that, about analytics for the social media, about mailers, mailing list. Do we go to Traverse City, Leland, all that area and go to their yacht clubs, or do I go to get that mailer?
I don't know how you.
Do I go to St. Clair Shores instead?
I guess would that depend on if they have agreements to not sell private information?
So what about state of Michigan voter registrations?
We don't know if we can get that or not. I asked once from Lene, and Lene never answered me, but Lene is trying to do 3 jobs right now too, so.
But even like that's going to be 95% of that's inland lakes, right?
95% of it's inland lakes and somebody's 12-foot rowboat.
Unless it can be
why-
sorted.
I'm thinking like you go to Rogers City,
Mm-hmm,
say, hey, can we have a list of your transient voters?
mm-hmm,
Because those are probably all the people that skipped over us,
mm-hmm.
or same thing with Presqu'île.
They're not
And then-
gonna want to give
You're
that.
not going to want to give me that.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah,
that's how you would get actual like.
Well, so from the Secretary of State's office, though, you could get boats that are 20 feet long or longer.
The parameters.
okay.
I mean, they have that information. So.
I can check on that.
Yeah. I know you could purchase mail routes,
Mm-hmm.
postal service. So I wonder if there's I'm Hail Marying this again, but maybe there's an avenue through the postal service that could have something that specific. I don't know though.
That would be a hard one, but
Routes, you're buying districts, but I don't know. Maybe MaryBeth would have a more
I
firm answer for that one.
and
I think it has to be really targeted or else you're going to be spending a lot of money on mailings that are getting to the wrong people.
the other one that I know a boater told me this year was when the great big races are going on.
Sailboat race.
Like
Yes.
here on the max.
Over here on Mac and that, trying to get on their advertising pages, and I can't figure out who their marketers are in order. That could be the 1 or 2 small ads that we place for the year, because I asked the guy, I said, what makes you decide where to go afterwards? And his comment was whoever advertised with the race committee.
So it's Bayview Yacht Club or Chicago Yacht Club are the 2
Okay.
sponsors. So.
And I reached out to Bayview and never heard back from anybody, but this is 3 weeks before the race too. That might be something I need to rake out.
After the first of the year, they'd be thinking about that, I bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It probably, I feel like
It
it'd
might
probably be
be
worth reaching out to them again pretty soon.
What is it, Bayview and who?
Bayview Yacht Club and Chicago Yacht Club.
Because the Port here on the max before Chicago, right?
It swaps back.
Oh, it swaps back. Okay.
Okay. And those were, it's one weekend. It's 2 or 1 or 2 weekends that are maybe get us some traffic, but
You could always check their advertisement and see who's advertising and try to pick what seems like the smallest organization, and call them up and go, who'd you talk to?
Yeah, I think you just called it the wrong time of year. They're
it's probably what it was.
running around like chickens with their head cut off 3.
Trying to get everything. Yeah. Okay. Well, and I will do a reach out to them, to both of those organizations at this point in time, because that was a spring mover that was saying, oh man, it's really nice here, blah, blah, blah. He's like, maybe I'll have to consider this when we're doing the races. I'm like, okay. He was one of them that won it one year or something. I don't know.
And members of the committee up for stuff when they come in.
Sponsor vote.
We could sponsor a vote, yeah. Take a 60.
Anything else that you guys can think of as far as media and stuff like that? Okay, so I guess I'm going to reach out to, with Rachel's help, reach out to a couple of these companies that do social media advertising campaigns, pick their brains, see how much it would cost us to try to get some kind of campaign put together. I'm writing myself notes, but I don't know why, because Cassie just tells me the next day what I'm supposed to do. Work with MaryBeth and Katie about analytics and probably trying to get the webpage, our existing Facebook page set up better. Work on a mailer and get a hold of the Secretary of State and see if we can buy a voter registration list from them. And I'll report back kind of on some of that stuff, what it would cost us to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
On the commercial, well, do we need to go back to agenda and meeting minutes?
We can if you want to and get that taken care of.
Okay. Since we now have a quorum, we're just going to jump back to approval of the agenda and the prior meeting minutes. So, and other than the modification that Shannon's already added to, talking about the grant materials, can I get a motion to accept the agenda with the modification?
I'll make a motion to accept the modification in the agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of prior meeting minutes. If everyone had a moment to review September 1st, 2022's meeting minutes. If we have, can I get a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the prior meeting.
I'll second that.
Oh, look at the teamwork. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to item number 2, commercial businesses SOP and agreement.
Do you want to tell them about what the insurance carrier told you?
It was a while back. Okay, so we were talking about liability of commercial businesses within the marina. And I had reached out to Connie Munson with Michigan Municipal League, who's our insurance carrier.
Does this include Airbnb?
Yes. So, let's see, I should have listened to that message again. But so basically everyone does charter boats within their marinas. So that's not an issue. I think you just have to come up with, whatever agreement that you want to have with them. I think Shannon could get some examples. The Airbnb, she had not had that question before, but I think that's something that you all need to decide if that's what you want happening in the marina. And do you want to put a cap on that? Or is it a cap on all the commercial businesses? Like, I'm just throwing a number out there. Okay, we're going to allow 5. 3 can be charter fishing, which I don't know if you want to limit that at all. And you can have 2 Airbnbs, but I know that Shannon has gotten inquiries about whether or not we have slips available specifically for that purpose, correct?
Yes.
So I think it's coming. We're looking at the way that we actually manage short-term rentals within the city is they go through our rental inspection program right now. But we are getting ready to overhaul our zoning ordinance, which is over a decade old. So we're looking at, we're getting some feedback from the Planning Commission and the council on exactly what we want to do with them. So I think there's probably going to have to be some sort of balanced approach that would be a little bit different for Airbnbs or in the marina. So it sounds like the Coast Guard would need to be involved in that.
Rick and I were talking just before the meeting here that there's a company that kind of comes up and does a 5-year inspection on their charter boats that we're going to try to reach out to see if possibly he has some information for us on this. I was going to ask specifically, does he know anything about Airbnbs? Do they do inspections on them and things like that? So the DNR, it's not the Coast Guard that is inspecting those boats. He corrected me. It's the DNR.
Okay. So at a minimum, you're going to want to have the owners or some type of whatever rules and regulations you want into that lease agreement. You should be able to require, this is a business within your marina, you need to manage it. So there's that. I think there's a little more research to be done as far as that. And also, do they have insurance?
Mm-hmm.
I would think that we would want copies of lease agreements and again, with whatever information we want to make sure that they have in there, because if you all are bound by certain things, you would want to make sure that the renters are as well. And then of course, if they're allowing use of the boat, which I don't know if that is going to happen, then that is a whole different ballgame.
Right.
The other thing that we discussed was the kayak business, rental business within the marina. That is a big liability if you allow them to launch in the marina. It should not be happening. So I think that's something that we have to address before the next season. And that those can certainly be launched from a different area.
What's the difference between launching them at the harbor or the duck park? It's
The electrical system,
You're in the marina, and yes,
There's
the
no
electrical.
liability to have there's no liability at the duck, that's a city park, isn't it?
There's not, I mean, we don't have any infrastructure in Duck Park, so it's not,
the Duck Park has that one
they are
launch.
insured, but
Right.
you're allowing someone in a kayak, which is very vulnerable, to launch in your marina.
Remember, you can't swim in a marina. That's one of the things that you have to consider is you can't swim in a marina. If you have somebody who's renting a kayak, they probably don't kayak every day. So maybe they're not as talented in a kayak as like somebody who does it daily. And at that point in time, a tipping hazard with the electrical system, large boats, all of those things, and have somebody that's on a kayak. At that point in time, they said it really increases our liability if we allow it.
River from the marina would be. In a kayak, you're so low to the water, you can't see them coming around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there some reason why they couldn't launch across the way?
Across,
Across Prentice Street,
On the rocks.
Prentice Street.
the other side of Prentice Street. And I'll have that conversation with Phil.
oh, yeah, there's no, you have to have it talking rocks.
Yep.
If that was something we pursued, or when we talk about that more seriously, I mean, would that culminate in also like the banning of any paddle boat craft in the marina, period?
I believe so. I would like to get a little more information from insurance. She had called me back with a really, really long message, and I have not dug back into that.
Okay.
You know, because I think you have to decide what do you want to happen within the marina. I just know that was the direction that our provider gave us, is that that's a pretty large liability for us. And we're not asking any of these businesses to even have us on as an additional insured, because this is a municipally owned, marina.
Yeah.
So we are liable.
Yeah, because I know they do allow kayaks through the Mackinac Island Harbor.
Okay.
I know that. I mean, I just throwing that out there for information. They have groups of people that paddle through there.
Well, and it's not like every day there's a bunch of people taking their kayaks down to the marina and dropping off. There's one business that's doing kayak rentals, period. So, I mean, it's not like you have a ton of people that are using the marina as an entry point anyways.
And I think
Lake.
here's part of the problem that we're running into is we're allowing that business in the marina.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point in time, when you launch, if you're launching your kayak at the courtesy docks or whatever, there are signs there that say that you're using the marina at your own risk.
Yeah.
If we're allowing him to have the business with the kayaks in there, and that was my understanding from when we listened to that message, at that point in time, it opens up liability to the city as us allowing that in the marina, when we know that we also cannot allow swimming or anything like that in the marina because of the electrical shock and everything else that's involved with that.
Chemicals and everything. Would there be a way to soften that blow potential by trying to put some kind of accessible kayak dock like in the river itself? Is it like what we have at Duck Park area? Put something like that.
Well, there's that boat launch right by the.
Oh, that
People use
could
that
be
all the
used.
time.
I mean, that could be used on.
Mm-hmm.
If a person had a kayak rental, they could potentially haul those.
Over to there.
I think the other issue with the harbor is that the water quality, you wouldn't want to go swimming in there.
Well, and I'm not trying to exclude this business from the marina. I just want to make sure, if that's what you want to allow, that we find some way to mitigate that. And it could be as simple as them adding us as additional insured to their policy. I don't know if that covers everything, but.
The big thing is, when's the last time we had a liability claim at the harbor?
Well,
Wasn't there one
We
when that
had
guy?
someone who tripped and hurt herself on the boards. So,
On the dock or the boards?
On the dock. So, I mean,
Yeah, so I mean, there's that. I mean, I'm just saying water related. I don't know, it's a discussion that needs more research. I would agree.
so it's just
Interesting to see. Yeah.
starting to think about, we're allowing these businesses in there, so we are creating liability for the city.
The other part too is we're just if your insurance person has some fact, I mean, they insure maybe a lot of marinas, so they might have more statistics on it. We're just one small thing that never has happened, not to say that it's not out there. So we just need more information. So it'll be interesting to see what they say, and I think we should readdress it. But that goes along with this Airbnb thing, because I just, like you, I'm thinking it's a pretty sweet deal. You go down there, you buy a cheap boat, fix it up, doesn't work, you throw it in the harbor, you pay how much they don't pay what the
$13.50.
$13.50, $4.50 for the whole summer. It's a sweet deal.
Yeah, you make a ton of money
Yeah.
out of it.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound.
You know the story of second chances, right? How that was used. That was kind of how they used it. They rented it out basically themselves before Joe got it.
Really?
So, I mean, you have that side to it.
So I mean, you got to be careful about. I totally agree. You got to be kind of careful about that.
And is that you don't want to take away those spots that could go to someone who's, using it all season long. And then that creates, generally when you have Airbnb, and not always, there's a little more disruption, could be, with those individuals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ideally with all those topics, I mean, is there a timeline you want to have most of this conversation basically?
I'm trying to wrap some of this up so that by February, when I'm sending out bills and people are calling, asking if there's available slips and stuff like that, that I can say, we have a policy, here it is.
Yep.
So I'm hoping December, January, we have this all kind of figured out a little bit, or at least a rough draft of a policy so that we can go from there.
You think you could, so it seems like it might be easier if Shannon just puts together maybe what she thinks for you to react to, but it would be good for her to have a general idea of what you want for the marina. Are you looking at a percentage?
Yeah, I think there needs to be some kind of limitation on the number.
Yeah, so we talked about it last month, I think we decided like 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
In a particular area.
For Airbnbs in particular?
Well,
I mean, do we think
that's a sticky situation because now commercial is commercial, right? Because people are making money.
Well, and we've always kind of said, the charter captains, there's three, I think.
I don't know, you're kind of lumping in people that pull into the parking lot with people who have slips, so.
Well, and that's the other thing is I've got.
Like, I haven't
Give you?
yet. Other people come in and maybe are coming and working on someone's boat, the marina come down and work on the boat. Now you're talking about, that would be somebody that you'd be limiting. So somebody would get kicked out, not be able to come in. How are you going to tell somebody they can't come in and work on his boat that he wants to go fishing or sailing tomorrow?
Right. And that's why I'm saying I'm trying to get this not sticky for everybody. And that's why I wonder if we want to limit the number of Airbnbs, but not the number of commercial.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, I guess at this point, I wouldn't see the reason to limit the charter slash those things.
So devil's advocate, do you want 20 slips taken up by charter fishermen?
You have 20.
Shannon votes yes.
Yeah.
For the devil's advocate.
And Shannon votes yes for the 20 charter captains who go out every day and put fuel in their boat. Yeah.
And a slip owner is a slip owner.
And they're bringing in.
Because how many?
But you could say the same thing with the Airbnb.
Yeah.
I mean, the arguments are the same. So
The only thing with an Airbnb, I think a charter is a working boat. And Airbnb boat may not be. So, for example, I know that down in Florida, you have a lot of people that like to put their boat in the marina and they're just, they never leave the marina. And so they have requirements. They say if your boat doesn't leave the marina 6 times during the course of a year, you're booted out. So, I mean, that's the kind of rules they have down there. So it's the only thing Airbnb, it's got to be a working, real boat.
Okay.
What are the conditions that needs to be out there? Not something without an engine.
Yeah, a gut job that they just put it
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It'd be really easy to, no engine.
thank you.
All you have to do is get it in there.
Yeah, tow it over there and slide it in the slip.
I mean, but I think that was also what we were just talking about with the inspections. If someone had an Airbnb boat and wanted to put it in our marina, they'd have to go through a proper inspection that would show it as a ocean seafaring vessel that can handle it, that has all the necessary safety equipment. Someone couldn't just go, well, I'm going to go buy 5 okay boats, give them a paint job and go stick them in the slips for $1,300 a summer and make 10 grand kind of thing. And I see that as a much different, we're starting to see that with housing here. But I mean, you're not going to see that with the charter captain business.
Yeah. Plus with the Airbnb, if they're not working boats, you end up with another crow's nest sitting up in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So just a thought for you, Shannon, and a resource. So just work with Montiel because we last year just kind of, we've been getting a lot of food trucks.
Yep.
So we had to decide, well, how do we manage those on, or do we even want to manage those on private property? Which I think we're moving a little towards, away from that. But we still get requests for them on public property, which is just like having a business in the marina. So there's an agreement. So I want it to at least be consistent with what our requirements are for a food truck that would rent from us. So, we require them to list us as an additional insured, for instance. So let's just check with Montiel and she might have some ideas about how to manage that.
Okay. Quick question for you, Steve. Additional insured, does it cost them more money to have that?
Yeah, some charge that. Yep.
Okay.
Not much usually. $25 or so.
Yeah, that was my understanding is it's negligible.
Mm-hmm.
Negligible, but if you're only making $300 a month doing something, then it's.
Well, it's one time $25. So,
Okay. Okay.
It's a very common and not unreasonable request.
Right. I mean, there's also, I've learned the difference between the certificate holder. And we've been doing a lot of this with our events because I wanted to overhaul that because we had just been approving whatever, no insurance. So now I require additional insured for anything that might be a liability. And sometimes it seems like overkill, but it's not that big of a deal for them to get it put on their policy.
A lot of cases, it's not.
So the main things that need to be drafted up is some kind of verbiage regarding charter captain businesses, Airbnbs. There was a third, wasn't there?
Well, and that's.
Other businesses that, I mean, would a kayak rental wouldn't count as does that count as a charter captain business? Because they do tours on the boats, right? So, and a part of their business is the kayak rentals, isn't it? Like it's a multifaceted.
What else do they do?
I thought didn't they do?
You don't need a captain's license to have that.
Because I thought they did like
He does sightseeing tours or something.
Kayak rentals. I didn't know if that was all one entity.
Help me out here, bud.
Just to figure this all out, are we talking limiting charter boats, VBRs? You're talking about slips. You're not talking about like.
Yes, you will still be able to come in.
I don't know how you're gonna regulate businesses coming in.
I think just slips.
Charter boats that come into the harbor and launch, and you don't even know who they are. They don't have something on the side of their truck.
And that's
talking slips.
Yeah, it's talking. It's someone that
trailer launch.
Yeah, someone that's like, I'm going to be in this slip. This is my slip for the whole season.
A couple of weeks ago, we were talking everybody. I just
Okay.
want to make sure that when we get this on paper, that we
There's no.
And I
way to
think-
manage that.
The only thing I would ask is the charter captains that are actually using the fish cleaning station. Those are the ones I would hope that they would work with me and possibly just list us as additional insured on that, just because their people are inside the fish cleaning station. They're, using the boaters launch, stuff like that. I would politely ask that they give us a proof of insurance, and
You're not going to know who half those people are.
I'm not, but this is why we have a charter captain on our board. I have thrown you under the bus.
I think we'll give them a badge.
I want a badge.
Yeah, I think the intention is
Yeah.
more so full season slip
Yeah,
rentals
Mm-hmm.
and not someone that's a day use transient type situation.
right. And that's the ones I'm
Yeah.
more worried about. I'm not even super worried about our fishing charter captains as much as I am the revolving door of different people coming through our marina, using it every day, because a charter captain is keeping track of his guest to some extent.
You're gonna have, like, in the spring, you're gonna have a few charter boats coming in
Mm-hmm,
for a month or two.
mm-hmm,
They head out.
mm-hmm.
In the fall, they're gonna come back before they put their boat away. They might be here a month. So, I mean, there might only be 2 in there right now, but at different times, there might be a couple more,
Right.
but they're not seasonals.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think with this agreement, at least maybe this will make it clearer, but I think the idea is that we're not touching the charter boat captain businesses, but we are looking at limiting in some capacity things like short-term rentals, like an Airbnb or Vrbo or whatever, or VRBO, and then assessing, I don't know, I don't even know how you'd separate the two, but
Mm-hmm.
non-sailboat power boats and looking at kayaks and
Yep.
things like that. I'm not sure what that verbiage would be like, but I mean, that would be,
Let me do some more deeper research on some things. Again, trying to not, I don't want anybody to think that we're trying to hammer down on them, and we don't want any fun in our marina. I don't mind that, but I don't want there to be I don't want you guys' lives to be disrupted because we have 20 VBROs in there and 17 frat parties going on and everything else. I think that's what we're trying to prevent happening down there.
Because it's coming.
yeah, it is.
It's getting more and more prevalent, just like we're seeing more and more short-term rentals, which it's fantastic that people want to come here and visit, but let's just get ahead of it and manage it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should go on the transient side too.
You think they should be on the transient side?
Bathrooms are over there. I think it makes more
The
sense.
amenities are over there.
Parking's over there.
I mean, I wouldn't argue with that either. I mean, my opinion is like if someone wants to run a business out of that, then, if you want it next to, and if we're going to limit a rental in that kind of capacity where someone's just staying on it kind of thing, then I don't see why there should be an issue. If anything, it's quieter than being on Prentice, but
That way they're closer to you guys too at the.
Yep, we keep an eye on it.
yeah, and then
Yes.
having some.
Do you care if the charter captains are on your side, though?
No,
I don't really.
I don't, to me, I don't have a problem with that.
Charter Captain Road on there on the other side.
It is.
I guess unless there was like a
It's fine.
need for seasonal slips.
Well, and I think I have 2 to 3 that are kind of seasonal. They have a seasonal slip. They live there year-round-ish.
Like the charter boat captains, like especially the ones that have the seasonal slips, like being on that parking lot side for accessibility for.
Well, there's only 2
Clients.
charter boat captains.
Mhm.
But there's 8 fishermen.
Okay.
So
it's
they're not all
convenience.
charter boat captains.
Yeah, they're
No.
fishermen is what they are.
Like being the-
I didn't know what our total number of seasonal
Yeah.
slip renting charter boat captains were. So, okay.
Yep, we have 2.
Okay.
We have 2. I have 3 that rotate through pretty heavily day use that I know of. Because their trucks are all stickered up.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know.
Mhm.
I will work on a standard operating procedure then, trying to put this together. I'll probably mimic some stuff that we already have here at the city and go from there.
Okay.
Hopefully I can bring that back to the November meeting.
I have another quick question.
Sure.
If you talk to the insurance people, did you ask about ice fishing in the marina? I don't know if that's an issue or not, but
I shut the electric off for winter.
okay. I don't know if that.
And that's, the whole thing has to do with the fact that that state law states with the electrical is running, then you can't have
Okay.
that going on. So if I shut the electric off to the docks and I check the docks every year and make certain our grounding is good, we know we're good. Where we run into trouble is some boaters' cord
Right.
has a short that causes a shock issue in the marina. So we have Thunder Bay Electric go through in the spring and double check our grounding to make certain we're okay. We don't know what's going on that boat.
Yeah.
And that's where we can't keep things like that, so that when that goes away and I flip the breakers to the pedestals, at that point in time, it makes the rest of the marina safe.
I feel like we've approved an ice fishing event.
In the marina?
In the marina, I think.
Maybe. Yeah, no, I mean, I do everything I can because I know those guys like to go up in that perch bed and fish, so. It's the summer fishermen I have a problem with more than anything.
Cool.
And you guys do on your sales, so.
Yeah. Every once in a while. On the Harbor Masters report.
Grant opportunity.
Grant opportunity.
So, just after this came out, we ended up with a grant opportunity that came out through Clean Marine, because we're a Clean Marine, from the state of Michigan, that they will pay up to 75% of the cost of a new pump out for us. This grant is due October 31st to the state. And I'm wondering if you guys feel that we could possibly reallocate some money in order for us to pay the match on this for a new pump out at the docks.
How much is it?
Well, we have options. You can have a Kerr pump, which is a dockside pump, looks like this. Brought a picture because I don't know if you guys have seen them in other marinas.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
That one there is $14,000, so we would need about $5,000 for that one. And then a Johnny Trap, which you guys are kind of familiar with, is about $6,000 on those quotes.
The Johnny Trap currently.
It's kind of like a Johnny Trap, but it's not a Johnny Trap because we can't find parts for it.
Would we be adding this as a second pump or would we be replacing ours?
We'd be replacing our existing one if we could get the grant.
Issues with ours?
If it breaks down, I can't find parts.
Okay. Was it supposed to suck?
Not that bad.
Not that badly.
Is there do you see a benefit versus one versus the other
Um,
in terms of the maintenance and longevity of operation?
I was gonna give it to Cooter the other day and Cooter was busy, so I didn't give him all the specs to it because he is my mechanical guru. I'm certain if our little pump out there went to heck, he would take it home, rebuild it on his bench and bring it back to us. I mean, you've all met him at this point in time. You know he's more than capable of doing that, but it's the parts that I'm really super worried about on that. I was gonna have him take a look at it. I think the Johnny Trap is a more simplified system, but it sounds like Johnny Trap is what is at like Presqu'Île in them.
Yeah, probably. Theirs is like built-in air, so, I mean, when you hook that thing up and let it go, it'll suck your hand in it. It's good.
Okay, it's not a Clico?
Nobody can, I don't know what it is.
Let me reach out to Terry and see if he
You
will.
know that any given chance I get, I have it done there and not here because of that.
Yeah.
Do you have $6,000 to reallocate?
It would take some really good shuffling and some decisions. That's some more conversation I want to have with this as far as what are we willing to give up in order to do this.
But Rachel, are you asking, could we just fork over the 6,000 without doing the grant right now? Or
No, I was just wondering, I mean, what's the condition of what's out there?
At a minimum, I'm going to have to put about $450 into it next year because it needs a new hose.
Because $14,000,
Mm-hmm.
so they'll pay,
They'll pay for 75% of it, which is, I did the math, it was just under $5,000 for the more expensive model.
I mean, is that, I mean, what is needed out there? Something.
What kind of revenue does that?
If we accept the grant, we can only charge the $5 that we already are.
Already charging. Okay. But so what does that generate in a year?
300. Yeah.
big debate?
But it's.
We know you do a few more, right?
It's a service.
Yeah.
It's a necessity.
Yeah.
To be honest with
Yeah.
you is,
I was thinking it would be more.
I could tell you.
to be honest with you, $6,000 to ask of council if we get that grant
Okay.
isn't,
Easy.
I mean, they could always say no, but that's not crazy. When
Okay.
you're getting 75% of it paid for.
Yeah.
It's leveraging our funds.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta believe that thing we've had has been there for a while, and the better ones probably last for quite a while because it's not like they get a ton of use.
And this very nice man from Kiko told me he would help me write the grant even. I'm like, it's not that bad. It's 2 pages, bud. Thanks. Because, I mean, we do have, the infrastructure is all there. The expensive part of us having it is all there. The piping up to shore is fine. Everything else, it's a matter of take out old one, put in new one, run a new water line because our old water line froze and.
Well, and it's one of those things that if you need your tank pumped out,
You want it done
you
right.
want it pumped up.
Yeah.
There's no messing around,
Yeah.
So
And that's,
if you had to pay $100 to do it, you would.
well, and the thing is, and that's part of Clean Marine uses their funding to back this other 75% of this so that it is an available service. It's reasonably priced for boaters so that they're willing to do it. They're not dumping the head in the middle of the lake.
And it can go into
They
our
charge
marketing
15
campaign.
in Presqu'île, and nobody, that's what they charge, and that,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the standard thing.
Yep.
I was shocked when I asked you the other day about why you didn't raise, and you said that
Yeah.
you couldn't do it, so.
Yeah, we can't do it because I believe we bought, when we got our first pump there, that first Johnny pump, we actually got it through this same program so that we cannot charge more than $5. It's
Is there
an
a
agreement.
termination to that agreement? Like after 5 years or it's in?
Yeah, they say as long as we're operating their equipment.
Okay. Well, I mean,
And again, if they're willing to,
to it, then
Yeah.
by all means.
Do you need a motion?
Yeah.
I need emotion.
Do you need a motion to pursue one or the other, or do you just pursue it?
Just to pursue it is what I'm looking for so that I can, when I go to council on Monday, I can say, hey, by the way,
Need a motion for the grant? Is that what you're looking for?
pursue the grant. To recommend to council to pursue the grant.
I make a motion that we pursue the grant for the machine.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Do you guys care which one I pick?
Better one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and
Whichever one seems to be more simplistic. One super has a bunch of moving parts and bits.
Yeah,
Right.
just the amount of suction.
Yep. I can send you both, whichever one.
Hey, the reason one's 15,000 and one's 6,000.
That is also my guess. The Johnny Trap is a real simple system, but I also think.
Size, but
Yeah.
because it has it's got a big tank that's.
It's got to fit on the dock.
Yeah, we got room for it.
It's just a quick measurements I looked at. It looks like it'll fit right back in that same spot. The only thing I'm going to do from their bid is get a longer hose.
I'd imagine it's a lot quicker to pump out
Yeah.
something with the
Probably,
expensive one.
Yeah. And nobody likes that chore, let me tell you.
On to Harbor Master's report.
Just a reminder, winter storage is fast approaching the October 31 date. Did I tell you that I don't care if you come down in your Halloween costume, you have to have your boat out on that date? We discovered a little issue the other day as I was riding through the marina in the morning, looking at things and wondering why I wanted to become a harbor master. I looked and I said, oh, dang, we can't put any boats in front of the fixed docks because I need to get a crane in there this winter.
Oh, you got to move all those boats?
Luckily I caught it just in time. So we didn't put any boats there, but that means I can't store any boats there. So winter storage is going to be super tight this year in the marina. So Arlie and I are working together. We're trying to figure it out. Unfortunately, that means a lot of the parking that was there for the ice fishermen during the winter is going to go away because we're going to come all the way around the front of the fish cleaning station into where was the Coast Guard parking. There's going to be a second row along the sewage plant that was never there before. We're going to leave a very, very small, narrow pathway through there in case we need to get fire trucks or something through there. And then the big boats are going to go there with the exception of the Tanner, which is coming straight off the lift and it's going to sit there. So we have more room. We're going to have to double stack boats on Flagpole Row.
So the boats that are there aren't in the way of where you're talking?
The trailer boats right now, we are going to be able to move them around yet. So that's right now they're hanging.
Yeah, they're
Ones on the jack stands are fine.
all those big ones there?
Yeah, they're fine because there's no docks down there.
Oh, right. Oh, because that's just the.
That's outside dockage.
The other stuck.
I have to pull out the old docks. That's where my problem is I got to get into that old dock system. Behind the blue compressor station, we have one more dock there, but that's a floating dock right now. It's the U dock.
Yeah.
So that won't be an issue. We can get that out of there, we think, without an issue. It's the fixed docks on that row that we need to be able to get to. And we're thinking, even down at that one end, we're hoping that the crane can swing enough to get the last dock without being in the way of the boats.
Assuming you don't want to pull them in the fall in case we don't get the docks in the spring?
Yeah.
Okay.
Until I have a purchase order with a confirmed delivery date, the docks are not coming out.
Yeah.
I had a question the other day. Someone asked me, are them pillars in between the two docks, are they coming out too?
Here's my concern is that the part of the goal of this whole thing was that area won't get bubbled anymore. So if that area is not getting bubbled anymore, it's going to freeze and we're going to have ice damage.
So everything will come out.
I'm thinking everything has to come out at this point in time.
Yeah.
I originally wanted to leave them because I know like Arby and them had all talked to me about being nice if they were there for the second set of ties across.
There's no bubbling.
But saving the $16,000 from bubbling them every winter is more lucrative to me than
Pay for it too.
trying to keep it bubbled.
Is it too crazy? I mean, if there was, I don't know, for some reason, if there was some kickback and people really wanted to keep that function, would there be any way to set a socket and like set it in the ground and then that pier could come out in the winter and go back in?
No.
That too is okay.
Silt moves.
Okay.
Silt moves.
I didn't know how
Yeah.
much an acre you could get down there. Okay. All right.
No, I know what you're saying, but I think we'd have more of an issue with that and you'd still have the ice moving those socks around then. That's originally, I was pushing for that to stay, those center piers.
Hold up, and they won't have that problem.
Well, I kind of figured the other guys on the other side do just fine. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So that was one of those things that came to mind. So at this point in time, we don't believe we can take any additional other than we guarantee everybody in the marina will have their location, but we don't think we're going to be able to take any more additional winter storage than we've already got in there. We got a fleet of 5 that we weren't counting on being in there that they were like confirmed yesterday. I'm like, oh, okay. We're kind of got a backup option for a couple things. If worst case scenario we get to it, we'll take the cradle lawn over in the DPW yard. They're going to flail it down, and we'll park some of the trailer boats over there from people who aren't too chuffed about it not being at the marina. So I have a fleet of 5. I'm going to ask about that.
That's more, they're more secure over there than they would.
To me, yeah, you know, they're in a locked gate every night. Nobody's going to go messing with them.
Cool.
So crazily enough, that was Monday's heart attack. The other thing is, of course, the dock house is closed from like full-time staffing. Have any of you heard any feedback from that?
Mm-mm.
I think I had some people went down there on Saturday and were like, oh, shoot. So I pumped a bunch of Tuesday, I think I went down there and pumped a bunch of them out. I had one transient come in that needed fuel at the last minute or came in for fuel, and I just came in Sunday morning and filled them quick. So, I mean, we only had the one transient boat that came through.
It's fine. Is that a big boat?
It was a bigger boat, yeah. They were nice, a very nice boat.
I think I saw.
I think we saw that one.
Yep, Sunday. He stayed an extra day, then he felt bad. He tried to call me before I came in Sunday morning and didn't catch me before I was in the marina, so. Other than that, getting your opinion on something, in the back of my mind, I keep messing with this thing called Food Truck Frenzy Wednesday. I'm thinking about hosting some food trucks down in the marina. I don't know if you guys think that would be a yay or a nay. Do you care?
I don't think it would hurt. I guess some of it would matter on whatever the new zoning is going to be regarding food trucks and all that stuff to reflect that. I know that some of the food trucks that are successful they're just doing their own thing, and they haven't been doing those kinds of like events. So I feel like if you did it and it was a bunch of hot dog stands, then it might not be worth it. But if you could actually like do something that's truly unique, get some quality food trucks, then I could see there being value to it. But I mean, because you're thinking for next season in the summer, kind of.
Next summer is what I was looking at. Montiel has that list of food trucks, so she reached out to them and just said, hey, you know, the marina is contemplating, and she has had some positive response. Yeah, that would be something to think about or whatever. I just, again, trying to think of things that would benefit the marina.
Is the store ever gonna have a deli in it? Is it gonna conflict with them?
He's still working towards some of that, and his would be grab and go packaging. So I don't think he would exactly mind that portion of it. He just finally got his liquor licenses sorted.
Like that's probably where he's going to make his money that saves her. Save him. So, yeah, I mean, I could see if there was enough diversity of food truck styles and basically wrapping where the old information house used to be, just wrap that little park and see how it rips. I mean, if it doesn't turn into a nightmare,
If it works, if it
if
doesn't.
it's not a nightmare for you and the
Put it over.
harbor staff, then
Over by the yacht club.
you could
Park is, yeah.
Yeah.
Or there's a lot of spots. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't hurt. You don't know until you try. We know.
Well, and I'm just trying to think of something that, you know, is a draw for the marina. It gets our boaters down there, even maybe on a Wednesday night. They know they can go down and have dinner at the marina, sit on their boat.
Perfect for us. We're all done sailing.
That'll be my dinner for
Yeah.
At Yangling Sailors.
Have the food truck park over there. That's a good idea.
I know.
The Yingling crew could sponsor it.
Well, why do you think I picked Wednesday?
Expensive dinner. Might use them every Wednesday evening.
Yeah, I think that could be a cool idea.
Yep.
Probably do something that tries to pull people down.
Well, and I'm just thinking even, you know, again, a Facebook thing that we put out there, you know, come on in, you know, Facebook, our transients,
That's what you do.
docktails and whatever the wikis are. Sounds like no wikis might be one that might be interested. So, other than that, that's kind of my life right now, is trying to get you guys booted out of the marina so we can put it to bed for the winter. The water project is going really well. It's going slow just because of, we couldn't get our boards to replace everything. So that's been more frustrating than anything, because if you're seeing, we've been replacing every board because they're pretty rotted. Cooter's been fixing things in the bottom there in boards. We've still short 60 boards to finish.
Oh, geez.
We got another load that came in today and we still short boards, so.
Wow.
Hopefully we can get those all taken care of here shortly. On a Friday, because I've got an extra hand down there with a seasonal that helps us. We're able to knock out almost 3 pedestals at a time. So we're still expecting to be done by the end of the month with that.
Cool.
Any questions for me?
Yeah, when's the November meeting? What date?
Not during deer season, because I will not be here. It is November 3rd.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
Any public comment?
Just mention that, for those who don't know, Tom Cutler, thanks for everything that's being done at the marina. I've had a boat in there off and on for 35 years now, and it's just great to see the improvements, and it looks better, and just in every way, it seems to me it's just a lot of improvement. So I listened to your marketing thing. For those who don't know, I used to run the base out at the airport, and when I got here, utilization was a big problem. In fact, some of you may remember that we went through a time where people in Washington wanted to close the base. And the reason was because of lack of utilization. So we took that pretty darn seriously. Senator Levin was very helpful. We got a lot of funding to make the base look really good. And but we sat down and did a lot of brainstorming. I listened to you and I brought all that back because we kind of took the approach, build it and they shall come. And you all are doing some really good things, but the trick is to get that out there and help people know. So we started doing customer surveys, and for a military base, it was kind of like, you're doing customer surveys, But we wanted to know what people thought. We wanted to know what the commanders thought, the enlisted people that are working out in the flight line and all that stuff. So we got the best ideas from our customers. And we just started implementing them. And as we improved things, pretty soon they wanted more. We kept leaning forward, and that's the way it works. So we asked what they need, what they wanted, what any suggestions they might have. We really pressed that hard. And then we decided we need to tell our story. So we created a brochure and sent to potential customers. And again, the military, you wouldn't think of them as customers, but they really were, because they had a choice where they went to train. And, we built, for some of you may remember, we created this ACMI system, which was an instrumentation you could put on the airplanes and go out and do their dog fights, and it would record it all, and they'd come back, and we built a building to do all the debriefings at. But we built security training facilities, medical training facilities, and the list went on, things we knew they needed. So we created it. And as I sat here and listened to it, how do you get that word out? Because you got some built-in really nice things here, access to shopping, restaurants, and I thought, gosh, where's the traffic originate? Probably a lot of your traffic originates in Southeast Michigan, and maybe the right brochure posted on the bulletin boards and yacht clubs and marinas down there, where there's a lot of people that may have the resources to travel on their boats, and there's probably some centers, of activity down there where you might be able to do that. I think of major boat shows that they might have in that area. Again, a representative, we would send out people to conferences and stuff where military units would be, with the brochure and a table, and got the word out. And I say all that because that started to impact utilization. Just sitting down, brainstorming through it, what can we do? In the military, we used to have this thing called Wheels, Meals, and Good Deals. And back when I was the guy choosing where we would go to train, we'd like to go where people really wanted us there, and they took care of the Wheels, Meals, and Good Deals. I mean, it was fun to go there. We could We used to go to Arizona years ago, and you get out there, and it was just, with good training ranges and good base and great restaurants, and you have a lot of that here. I don't know what your capacity is to put a brochure out, but first, if we got a first-time visitor, you could offer them the first night free as a transient, with the idea that once they get here, they're going to love it and they will come back year after year. I mean, there's all kinds of things. I don't know if you remember the receptions that the chamber would have for our units.
Mhm.
Love that.
Really?
They came back for the darn reception. And, we would offer them a couple of free drinks and coupons to go downtown. They could win gifts and stuff. They loved it, and they would come back because they remembered how wonderfully they had been cared for when they were here. So, the coupons for restaurants, access to the airport, it's a big deal. Wheels maybe to get to Home Depot and pick up things they need, or to Walmart, is Uber active here?
I have nothing right now. In fact, yeah.
You can do Uber. I think there was one person at
Yeah.
one point, but that was my memory from pre-COVID.
And that was when I was trying to get people to the airport. I was really excited. We got a travel car here just recently. Just before the meeting, I was dealing with that kid that works for us on Friday. He was actually going to pick up boaters at the airport to bring them back to their boat because they took off for a couple of days to go home to take care of some stuff, and we're coming back. So right now our cab company closed, I can't get Uber to pick up. We were trying to, this summer I told you we had a customer that needed to go to a vet even. And we don't have, that's one of the things we're struggling with right now is that. So if anybody sees a cab company that's restarted, I have not seen one yet.
I think I know of one. I'll get you the info.
That would be a big deal, just have some access to get somewhere.
Yep.
So anyway, what we did, the community was really helpful. We turned the utilization thing around pretty substantially, for a number of years. I don't know what it is today, but it was do or die for us, and the community was really supportive and made a difference. It was kind of a team effort. A lot of things go into it, but it's a great asset. And I think it's just a matter of figuring out how do you get the word out to the right people.
Easily said. It's easily said, hard to implement.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, we faced the same thing when we were doing it. How do you get that out there? So we sat around a table and did this kind of thing, just a meeting to just brainstorm. How might you do that?
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Member comments?
I had a comment. The geese
Yep.
walking could probably be turned off.
Yes.
And I think that should be revisited whether we want to do that next year or not.
Okay. One thing that we were looking at next year is not running them all 24 hours.
Yes, because I've heard a couple of complaints on that.
Okay.
It seems like it's effective.
Yes. For the most part.
Yeah, I mean, amazingly.
Yeah, amazingly, it worked pretty well. There was a couple other things that had potential that we were looking into also. But they were a strobe light, so every time there was motion, the strobe light went off, and I figured that would be more irritating than the geese all night on the thing. And there's like a streamer system that you could put up kind of along the shoreline that was like reflective streamers, and they see that reflection and they don't like it. So there was a couple other things we were going to take a look at to see if they would help. I've heard good things about the honkers, and I've heard bad things about the honkers. So
During the day when there's a little bit of noise, whatever, you don't even really, you think it's a real goose, so you just kind of ignore it. But I can see in the middle of the night if you're.
I didn't realize they ran all night.
I pulled the Inglings out. It was
annoying. It's going off every 15 minutes.
They go off every.
Because you were right there where that was.
Like, isn't it going? It's going off constantly.
I can see why somebody cut the cords.
Yeah.
Does that still happen?
No.
That stopped? Okay.
Nope, that's quit, but I think they also seen the benefit of them being there. The other thing that we talked about is not only just not limiting them overnight, but also moving them around more or pulling them off completely for short times.
Yeah.
Just to keep it fresh in their minds and keep them freaked out. So
Not too routine.
I'm trying to prevent myself from having a dog named First Mate that lives with me currently. This is my goal.
Marina dog would be.
It would be a Marina dog. His name is First Mate. I've already named him. I have to have him live with me. His name is First Mate. And
Probably give you the corgi.
you think so? She'd give me the corgi?
I would do a good job.
So, I mean, and again, we're back to the more traffic we have down there, the more they're not going to hang out.
Right.
So they're not going to want to be down there if there's people around. Going to try a more aggressive, going to put those out early so that they don't come in with their little ones and see if that helps.
Harbor Advisory Committee people have paintball guns and.
They frown upon that for some reason. I don't get that. So that's some of it. And then we are also going to explore nest collection on this side of the river. But I need to, when we have our next goose meeting, we have an actual committee.
Good.
For this, I'm going to discuss with them, reaching out to a couple private properties that I think are harboring quite a few of them and seeing if we can go oil their eggs also.
Perfect.
Cool. Is that building on Prentice Street coming down? That shed? Didn't we talk about that?
I'm still working on it. There's politics involved with it, so I'm trying to get through the politics.
What's in it?
Nothing. Hooter cleaned it out completely.
Why is there politics exactly?
Because we just can't get rid of a city asset.
You gotta
That's an asset? There's a hole inside of it.
It's
You can't just casually get rid of a.
And on fire.
Yeah.
That would be best. That was
They're not
recorded.
happening.
It's one of those things. I've asked a couple times, can I just take a building down that is on our rolls? And
Couldn't we just?
nobody can answer that.
insured. It's probably not even.
No.
It's not really
Well,
an
it's
asset.
part of the.
It's depreciated off to zero, so it has no value.
I agree.
And one of those trees fall on it over there?
Yep.
Yes, some of those will be going also.
But will they,
Oh my
did they fall on it?
Jesus.
And
Maybe.
take it?
Who's the biggest opponent to this?
Nobody's really an opponent, but nobody can tell me if I can just get rid of it.
I'd say just
Do
ask
it.
for forgiveness and
Yeah.
permission.
I do that regularly, but at some point in time, there's going to be a help wanted harbor master.
You'll take that out. Nobody will know.
Exactly.
I mean,
I have not found the clandestine evening time to do that yet.
That's right. You need a covert operation. Somebody in this room is probably good at knowing how to instrument all a covert operation over there sitting.
because I mean, there's nothing we can do to expedite that, like basically like.
It's a matter of somebody giving me the blessing, and nobody really has said, Shannon, go ahead and take down the building.
I'll make a motion that the Harbor Advisory Committee authorizes the takedown of that building as it serves no value to our community and is derelict to the view of our beautiful lake.
I'll second that motion.
Is this a formal vote? Or does it need to be a
We're in advisory.
It's going to go to council and they got to do
motion
something.
need to be a recommendation to the city council for the seeking and the removal rather than just we make the
But we can't tell them to do anything, but we could, okay.
we can recommend it.
Advisory, we're giving them advice.
Advice
Yeah.
that needs
That's
to,
what we're here
that's detriment to the city of Alpena. As it's a derelict building, it needs to be removed.
Yes.
And the grounds around it need to be cleaned.
Yes. And that's, email Rachel
Okay.
and tell her that it's been recommended that building come down, and ask her.
Go through a full motion and vote.
I would just as the chairman, just reach out to Rachel and ask her if that building can come down.
Yep, I can do it.
Can the railing get painted for the stairs going up to the apartment?
That is next summer. So I'm waiting to see what we're going to do with the building itself.
If they were painted that nice
Does that
mural and
building
there's
have a
this ugly
specific
handrail next to it.
name?
The what?
Does that building have a technical name? Like
The old, is we just always refer to it as the old pump house.
get up a letter for someone.
So that's, yes, the railing is going to get addressed next summer. We were trying to focus on getting some other stuff knocked out, and yeah, we got this beautiful mural and this ugly set of steps. I understand, but I was trying to deal with the ugly peeling paint on the side of the building first,
Got that problem.
and still don't have a really good solution for that, so. Because somebody bailed on me.
It's not my fault.
I'm just gonna put that out there, that somebody bailed on me, so. We're still working through that. It's $40,000 to do the siding and windows.
Holy cow.
And that was, I could only get one quote. So if somebody has a contractor that they know that's willing to give me another quote, that would be phenomenal.
It's probably not unreasonable. It's a good sized building.
It is. It's, well, and it's only, the sad thing is it's siding on two sides and all the windows in the storefront. Heat is going into the storefront as we speak-ish. The new furnace went in, so that has went through. But that's part of what's limiting my ability to do the siding and windows completely. Right now, I reached back out to that contractor and said, hey, if I just do the windows, and that's why I held off doing the painting on the railing and stuff, because then I may have to blast that building and we'll paint that next summer as opposed to putting the siding on it right now.
Really?
The what?
Just paint it.
A paint job would do world of wonders there, and gosh.
Cool. Okay. Any staff comments? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Perfect.
Meeting adjourned.
Good job.
Short list. It took a long time.